Oh, hello. This is a warning dream about the Rfid chip. I just had a prophetic dream on it. It absolutely terrified me and upset me more than you could imagine. I'm going to share it with you. I believe it to be a prophetic warning dream. So, prophetic dream from the Lord, warning dream. Okay? I'm going to go through it exactly as it happened. I was in my dream and I didn't know I was in a dream, obviously. But I was in the dream. And let's start with it. I was in this place that resembled a hospital, but there were loads and loads of people there, and people that thought they were all cool and like hip and gangster type thing. Like, yeah, we're all cool, man. Like, like teenagers and people in their 20s, and maybe some people in their early 30s, and a couple of older people as well. But mainly like the youth era or the 20s era. You know what I mean by this? And there were these people, and they were wearing like cool clothing and like, yeah, we're cool, man. We're like the technology guys. We're the 20s, we're it, we're the next generation. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're totally cool. This is the attitude of people. And guys with tattoos, and they had the sleeves up their arms, and they had all the different piercings and nose piercings, and they were just like normal everyday people, but in their 20s, like, and early 30s, and some of them in their teens. And me and my wife Haley were there, and my brother Jamie, and we're all lining up in this queue. I was there for a blood test, right? And I thought, well, this is a little bit odd, like, sorry about the blowing. I got OCD, by the way, I can't help it, really sorry about this. We're in this queue, and I was there for a blood test, and all these people were going on about how cool this thing is, this blood test they're about to have or something, and I thought, what the hell is this? Anyway, never mind. I thought it was a hospital setting, so, there must be some other stuff going on here that I'm not aware of, but I'm here for my blood test. That's the way I was looking at it. Anyway, after a long time of being in this queue with all these people banging on about all this cool stuff, and I saw people, if you're in a hospital and you wait for a blood test, normally there's a big queue, and then there's another queue of people like all walking out. Sometimes you have to wait for ages, but the people walking out, and they were like, yeah, and they were looking at their arms, and they were walking out. And if only I knew at that point. They were walking out, and suddenly it was my turn. And I went in this room with this lady, and my wife was in the queue still. My brother was still in the queue behind me. And I went in this room, and there was this lady, and she sat me down in this chair, and she was wearing latex gloves and stuff, and she had this injection thing in her hand, and she went through this procedure. Now this thing, like, this confused me. She suddenly showed me this goat, right? Yeah, like this goat puppet thing. And this goat looked bloody terrifying, like, And she said, what I've got to do is I've got to give you your blood test, Daniel, through this goat puppet mask. I was like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell is this? Why would you want to give me an injection for a goat mask, like, And I was like, hang on, isn't this a blood test, like, Why are you injecting me, like, She said, well, here's the goat. And I saw this goat, man. I saw this goat mask thing. And it was the most terrifying looking goat I'd ever seen in my life. It had big sharp ears and evil eyes in a mask, like a puppet type thing. And she said, what I do is I put the injection through here, and it goes through its mouth, and then I inject it into your arm, like, I was like, right. I was like, right, okay. Can you not? I said, look, I'm a big man, I've had tattoos. I don't need some puppet to have an injection. I don't understand what you're doing here, like, And I said, well, wait a minute, I thought this was a blood test. Why are you injecting me? You normally take blood out, out, not in. She was injecting something into me, not out of me. One second. English got to have our cuppers. After that dream, I need one. Anyway, and then it was like I suddenly saw a Snap-it or somebody else having this injection through this goat thing. And this goat thing looked evil. It was like it bit you, man. And I saw like a injection come out of its mouth. Bit you, evilly bit you, like, this goat thing. It was like the lady was no longer part of it. It was like it was no longer a puppet. It was like it was a goat injecting your arm and biting you really hard, like, Anyway, I saw her preparing the needle, and there was a little chip in it. And I was like, what the F is that? I'm not going to swear, but like, what the hell is that? There's a chip in that injection. She went, yeah, yeah, yeah. She said, I'm going to put the implant in you now, the chip. I was like, you what? I said, I thought I was here for a blood test. She went, no, you're having a chip. You know, it's really cool. It's what everyone's going on about. And suddenly I was like, the chip? And I sat back and I said, is that the RFID chip? She went, yeah. And I went, no. You mean the radio frequency identification chip? She went, yeah. And I went, no! I said, get away from me. I pushed her away from me. I said, no, I'm not having that. You know, whatever the Bible says about the RFID chip. It was the RFID chip she was about to put in my arm, and I was inches from having it, and I wasn't even aware that I was about to have it. You know, I don't know, I just suddenly awoken to the fact that this was the RFID chip. And suddenly, I said to her, no, I don't want it. I said, look, if anything, I'll come back another day. And these two big men stepped into the room. They said, no, you're having it. I said, no, it's okay. No, I don't want it. Because at this point, it was all cool to have one of these chips. It wasn't like you have to have one or you'll die type thing. It was a cool thing to have. And I said to these big men, I made a mistake. I'm not feeling very well today. I'm really sorry. I'll definitely book it in for next week. I was saying that just to get the hell out of there, right? And I managed to get out of the room. And my wife and my brother were still in the queue. And at this point, Hayley was now in front of me. And I said to Hayley, I said, it's the RFID chip. It's the RFID chip. And she said, what? I said, they're going to put the RFID chip into you. Didn't listen to me. Didn't listen to me again. And, you know, she always does this, a stubborn thing, man. But, you know, this time, this was it. And she said, oh, no, it's nothing to worry about, Danny. It's nothing to worry about. Look, all these people are having it. Like, you know, it's totally cool. And then this guy jumped and he went, wow, I've got my RFID. He said, this is really cool. I can open doors and I can do things with my phone and all this incredible technology. Look at this. And he was running around my wife and other people going, yeah, look at this. And suddenly I saw the lady who was signing my wife in next. And she was smiling. And I tried to say to the lady, this is the RFID, isn't it? And she was ignoring me. She was like, no, I'm not. And she wasn't talking to me. And I said to her, I really want one. Suddenly she went, oh yeah, and she started talking really exciting and enthusiasm to me. No, I don't want one. I was tricking her to try and find out if it was the RFID again. And I said to the lady behind the till, it's the RFID. I really want one. And suddenly she went, oh yeah, it's definitely the RFID. I said, what, as in radio frequency identification chip? She said, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It tracks you and stuff. No, it really was the chip, like, you know. And I begged my wife and I pleaded with her. I said, you can't take this. I said, the Bible says you cannot be forgiven. Once you take that, your fate is sealed. You will end up in eternal hell. Do not take the chip. And I was, you know, it was kind of like embarrassing because I was trying to shout this at my wife and all these people were looking at me and it was a horrible situation to be in. But I thought, no, I don't care. I've got to tell her and I've got to tell my brother, like, you know. And I was pleading with her and she did her usual thing, you know. Shut up kind of thing. No, I'm having it, you know. And I said, no, you don't understand. Once you take this, it's too late, you know. And she walked in this room and I was literally trying to grab her back. I was trying to pull her back and say, no, Hayley, don't take it, please. You know, because it was seen as a happy thing to take. It was seen as a normal thing to take. Everyone was really excited about it. And I was just looking into it again, as usual. This is the way that Hayley was putting it across. I was looking into it. I was making a big fuss out of nothing. You know, it's not on the news. You know, how do we know we're in the end days? You know, it's all this crap again. I'm looking into it. You know, it's nothing. It's just a chip in your arm. You know, and I said, but the revelation in the Bible says, do not take this. You cannot be forgiven. You'll go to hell if you take this mark, you know. But no, you know what I mean? I'm looking into it. You know, we can't possibly be in the end days. It's not on the news, or as on what's being broadcast for our TVs. Therefore, I must be looking into it. I must be a complete fool. Do you know what I mean? And she took it. I cried so hard in my dream. I knew what she had just taken. It was the RFID, the mark of the beast. Or you know, like the Bible says, if you take that mark or the number of its name or its name, your fate is sealed. You'll spend eternity in hell. And I saw her take it. I couldn't do a damn thing about it. I tried pulling her back, and I instantly broke down in hysterical crying, man. I thought it was real, guys. You know, that dream was presented to me like just now, like I was really there. And I have never cried so much in my life. And I just didn't know what to do. And I looked at her and I was like, well, can I even be with her anymore? I mean, how does this work, you know? What if I do anything with her, like, you know, like the birds and bees as husbands and wives do? You know, will that affect me? You know, can I kiss her? Basically, she is now destined for hell and there's no way out of it. She cannot be forgiven now. And then I tried talking with the staff and I tried to go over it. Well, what if she gets it removed straight away? How does that work? You know, I was thinking, could she be forgiven then? Like, you know, but the way that it's presented in the Bible, no. Once you've taken it, that's it. You can't get out. Your fate is sealed. And I thought to myself, you know, we've got this YouTube ministry on the go. We've got the Periscopes on the go. You know, she can't help me in this anymore. And I thought, she's gone to hell. And I cried so hysterically, man, knowing that my own wife, no matter what I tried to do or did or whatever, she was going to go to hell. And it really, really messed me up. And I cried so hard, and I tried to tell my brother Jamie, and I tried to beg and plead with him, and he was like, oh, I don't know, man. You know, he was kind of believing me, sort of, and he was kind of like, sort of not believing me. He was like, I don't know. But I love my brother, man, and I didn't see any more of Jamie in my dream. I think he didn't take it, and I was very grateful for that. But Haley did. And I was seriously, seriously destroyed and messed up. And all these people in there were taking it like it was cool. And like I said, the setting was like a hospital. These people were in there, I guess in this dream, they were taking it of choice, you know. And I don't know why we were in that queue there, but we were. And so the dream is this, right? What is the meaning of this dream? The meaning of this dream is this. The RFID chip is already out. The mark of the beast. Treble 6, you know. The goat puppet that she was using to calm me down wasn't a goat puppet to calm me down. It was Satan. He's a goat, isn't he? You know, have you seen Satan in some of the pictures? He's a goat. It was the goat sticking the blooming mark in everyone's arms or in their heads. When I saw it in their right arms. It was the devil injecting this chip into people. I saw it for what it was. People didn't see it for what it was. They saw it as calm, innocent, a nice, cute little goat puppet to put an RFID chip in your arm. I saw it as the devil himself sticking it in people's arms, you know. And people saw it as all cool and fun and hip and technological. And yeah, we're in our 20s and we're amazing and it's amazing. It's the in thing to do. You know, like this, at the moment, this whole Pokemon Go thing is the in thing to do, you know. And in the past, there have been in things to do that, like, huge parts of the world all suddenly get the idea to do it. It's the in thing to do. Well, this bloody RFID was that thing, you know. The in thing to do was the RFID chip. You know, it was like the big craze around the schools. I've got an implant. I've got my RFID. Everyone was so excited about it, you know. Oh, look, I've actually got my chip. Ah! This is the mark of the beast. This is the thing that will take you to hell. You know, and that's how it was introduced in the dream, that it was amazing and cool and all the rest of it. Do not take it. It is the thing that will take you to hell. Don't take the mark. Whatever you do, you know, they're going to put it across to you guys that it's all cool and all the rest of it. Listen to me now, please, okay? This is your warning now. Do not take the RFID chip, the implant in your right arm or your forehead. The Bible says you cannot be forgiven. The Bible says you cannot be forgiven. You will go to hell. No matter what way they present this chip to you, you do not take it. RFID. Chip in your right hand, size of a grain of rice, in your forehead or in your right arm. Okay, do not be tricked, do not be fooled into taking this. It's a very, 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 very serious warning to you now. And I'm sure that there will be people that you love that are going to be taking this. If you warn them now not to take it, then hopefully they won't take it. They'll know what it is before it happens. People, and I believe from that dream that it is people that you love dearly, that, you know, you didn't think would take it, would be fooled into taking it. And, you know, some people that we love are very stubborn. They'll be like, no, I'm doing it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Not knowing that they've just sealed their fate as an eternal hell, like, you know. People that you love, remember this. There will be people that you love that will be taking this. You need to tell them now. Warn them now. Give them this video. Share this video with them. Watch this video. Don't take it. This is a prophetic dream from the Lord. Don't take it. Don't take it. I've made other videos on this RFID before, and the Lord's given me this dream again. Please, don't take it. If a chip is ever presented to you, RFID, the size of a grain of rice, in your right arm or your forehead, if it's ever presented to you in any way, no matter how cool people make it, no matter how much an in thing it is, no matter how much it's really presented as this really cool thing to do. You can open car doors, you can start your cars, you can go through pass readers at work, you can order your tickets through this, and you can travel the world without buying a ticket because you've got it all on your arm. No matter how cool it's presented to you, this is the mark of the beast from Revelation. The Bible says you will not be forgiven once you've taken it, because it's the mark of Satan. Once you've taken it, you belong to Satan. Your fate is sealed. You'll end up in eternal hell. Don't take it.